In 1656, a 23-year-old philosopher named Baruch Spinoza was excommunicated from the Jewish community of Amsterdam. His crime? Saying something unthinkable for the time, that God is not separate from the universe, God is the universe. He didn't mean this metaphorically. Spinoza believed that everything, from the rotation of galaxies to the movement of your thoughts, is a mode, a ripple, of one infinite substance. A substance with infinite attributes, only two of which we know, mind and matter. Spinoza called it Deus sive natura, God or nature. And in doing so, he quietly laid the foundation for an idea that would echo across time, influencing Einstein, modern cosmology, and even Eastern philosophies of non-duality. Today, we ask, is the universe one conscious being, and are we just waves on its surface? Forget the old man in the sky. Spinoza's God is not a person, not a creator outside creation, but existence itself, self-caused, infinite, indivisible. He proposed that all things are not separate entities, but modes of a single underlying substance. Your body, the sun, a blade of grass, they're not separate beings, but expressions of one infinite reality. In Spinoza's framework, this substance has infinite attributes, but humans can only perceive two, thought and extension, or what we'd now call mind and matter. But here's the twist. They're not different substances, they're two ways of perceiving the same reality. Just like a coin has two sides, so too does being express itself through thought and form. And in this, Spinoza anticipated a truth that would take centuries for science to catch up with, that consciousness and matter are not opposites, but aspects of a deeper unity. Most of us live inside a dualistic model, where mind and matter are separate, where the soul is distinct from the body, where God is apart from creation. This view runs deep in Western thought, but Spinoza shattered that illusion. He was a monist, someone who believed that there is only one thing, one being, one substance, and that everything else is simply a modification of it. This is not unlike the non-duality of Advaita Vedanta or certain schools of Mahayana Buddhism, where the self and the cosmos, the observer and the observed, are fundamentally one. Spinoza's insight cuts through the illusion of separateness. You are not a ghost in a machine. You are not a self watching a world. You are a particular expression of the one thing that exists, God, nature, the infinite substance. Everything else is a misunderstanding born of language, perspective, and the limitations of the human mind. If everything is part of the one substance, and if that substance includes both thought and extension, then doesn't that mean everything has a mental aspect? Spinoza didn't say that rocks and rivers have thoughts like humans, but he did imply that everything has some degree of mind. This idea, that consciousness is intrinsic to all things, is now known as Panpsychism, and it's enjoying a major renaissance in contemporary philosophy. Thinkers like Philip Goff, Galen Strawson, and even some physicists argue that consciousness might be a fundamental property of the universe, not something that emerges at a certain level of complexity, but something that's always been there, just like mass or charge. In this view, your thoughts, your emotions, your awareness are not generated from nothing. They are focused expressions of a universal consciousness that flows through all things, from electrons to elephants. Now step into modern physics. General relativity shows us that space and time are not absolute, they're part of a flexible, interconnected fabric. Quantum mechanics tells us that particles do not exist independently, their properties arise in relationship to observation, entanglement, and context. And quantum field theory goes even further. Beneath particles is a field, a single, unified field, rippling with energy from which all matter arises. Doesn't that sound familiar? A single substance, infinite in potential, expressing itself in modes? Even Einstein, who called Spinoza his favorite philosopher, wrote, "I believe in Spinoza's God, who reveals himself in the orderly harmony of what exists." In a very real way, modern physics is catching up to Spinoza, recognizing that the universe is not a collection of things, but a single being, unfolding as everything. Spinoza didn't stop at metaphysics. He believed this vision of oneness had ethical consequences. If we are all expressions of the same being, then love, compassion, understanding, they're not just moral options. They're the natural logic of unity. Hatred, fear, judgment, they arise from ignorance, from the illusion that we are separate. Spinoza wrote that the highest form of knowledge is the intellectual love of God, not a worship of a person, but a deep, clear perception of our unity with all existence. When you see this clearly, Spinoza said, freedom arises. Not freedom from causality, but freedom through understanding. You begin to see your emotions, your impulses, your thoughts as part of a larger whole. You stop resisting what is. You align with the flow of nature, and in doing so you become free. Not because you are in control, but because you have seen through the illusion of control. Though he lived in 17th century Europe, Spinoza's philosophy resonates deeply with Eastern spiritual traditions. In Advaita Vedanta, Brahman is the infinite, unchanging reality behind all appearances. In Mahayana Buddhism, shunyata, emptiness, is not nihilism, but the recognition that all things are interconnected, empty of separate selfhood, and full of interbeing. Spinoza didn't have access to these teachings, yet his vision mirrors them. Why? Because perhaps truth, when deeply seen, reveals itself through different lenses, but with the same light. Just like the Tao, Spinoza's God does not intervene, does not judge, does not command. It simply is, infinite, immanent, indivisible. Not up there, not out there, but here, in this breath, in that star, in the silence between your thoughts. So what are you in all of this? A fluke? A fleeting form? A soul on a journey? For Spinoza, you are a thought in the infinite mind of God, not separate, not autonomous, but part of the eternal unfolding of being. Your joys and your sorrows, your struggles and your insights are all ripples in the sea of the one substance. This doesn't diminish your value, it dignifies it. Because if everything is God, then nothing is profane, everything is sacred. Every moment, every thought, every falling leaf is the universe expressing itself. And the more you understand this, Spinoza believed, the more you align with reality, the more you awaken, not by escaping life, but by seeing clearly what you are, a unique expression of the infinite. Spinoza died young, alone, and misunderstood, but his vision lives on, not just in philosophy, but in science, in mysticism, in the quiet intuitions of those who look at the sky and feel a presence not apart from them, but within them. In a time of division, alienation, and fragmentation, his philosophy reminds us, you were never separate. The universe does not surround you, it includes you. You are not in it, you are it, briefly, beautifully, eternally. If this stirred something in you, share your thoughts in the comments. Have you ever felt the truth of Spinoza's vision? That there is only one thing, and everything is it. And if you want to keep exploring these luminous frontiers of science, consciousness, and the great mystery of being, subscribe. Because this isn't just a channel, it's a mode of that one infinite substance remembering itself.